The dinner invitation. The calm before the storm. It was supposed to be a normal Sunday evening in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio, the kind of place where nothing ever happens. And that's exactly why what happened next shocked the entire community. The Miller family had not sat down together for dinner in almost 6 months. After months of arguments, silent treatment, and emotional distance, Sarah Miller finally sent a message in the family group chat. Dinner at my house, 7 p.m. No excuses. No one knew what to expect. Her husband, David Miller, arrived first, a 45-year-old accountant who always looked calm on the outside, but neighbors said he had changed over the last year, more distant, always on his phone, always defensive. Then came their eldest son, Jason, 22, recently dropped out of college. He hadn't spoken to his father properly in months after a bitter argument about money and failure. Finally, their daughter Emily, 19, arrived last. She had been living part-time at a friend's house, avoiding family conflict completely. At exactly 7:03 p.m., the dinner began. The table was set perfectly: roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and warm bread. Sarah had tried hard to make it feel normal. But the air inside the house was anything but normal. Silence filled the room. Forks moved slowly. No one smiled. Then David finally spoke. "You don't call a family meeting like this unless something is wrong." Sarah didn't respond immediately. She just looked at each of them, one by one, as if she had been holding something inside for a very long time. And then she said the words that changed everything. "We need to talk about what really happened last year." Jason dropped his fork. Emily froze, because whatever last year meant, none of them were ready for it to come out. But what Sarah revealed next wasn't just a family secret. It was something that would turn this dinner into a nightmare no one could escape. The hidden truth: the room grew colder, even though the oven was still on. Sarah slowly stood up from the table and walked toward the kitchen counter. From a drawer, she pulled out an old brown envelope. David's expression changed instantly. "Don't," he said quietly. But she already opened it. Inside were printed emails, bank statements, and screenshots of conversations. Jason leaned forward, trying to understand what he was seeing. Emily's hands started shaking. Sarah spoke slowly. "For 2 years, I kept quiet. I trusted you, David. I trusted this family would stay together, no matter what." David slammed his hand on the table. "This is not the time." "Yes, it is," Sarah interrupted. "Because I know everything now." Jason looked between them. "Know what exactly?" That's when Sarah revealed it. Hidden debts, secret accounts, money transferred without explanation, and worst of all, a financial betrayal that had nearly cost them their home the previous year. Emily whispered, "Dad, is this true?" David didn't answer. Silence confirmed everything. But then Jason stood up suddenly. "You lied to all of us? Do you know what I went through because of those money problems? I had to drop out because of you?" The tension exploded. David finally snapped. "You think you understand anything? I was trying to protect this family." Sarah laughed bitterly. "By destroying it in secret?" The argument grew louder. Years of anger came rushing out at once. Chairs moved, voices overlapped. No one was calm anymore. Then Emily said something no one expected. "You all act like victims, but I saw something last year that none of you know about." The room went dead silent. Because what Emily was about to reveal connected everything. And it changed the meaning of this dinner forever. The secret that should never have been spoken. All eyes turned to Emily. Her voice was low. "Last year, I didn't go to school for 2 days." David frowned. "What does that have to do with anything?" Emily swallowed hard. "I came home early one afternoon, and I saw Mum and someone else in this house." Sarah's face instantly went pale. Jason stepped back. "What are you saying?" Emily continued, tears forming in her eyes. "I saw money on the table, documents, and you weren't alone, Mum." The room felt like it stopped breathing. Sarah shouted, "Enough!" But it was too late. David slowly turned towards Sarah. "Who was it?" Sarah didn't answer. That silence said everything. Jason backed away from the table. "So this is what this dinner is about, confessions." But David wasn't listening anymore. He walked toward the hallway, picked up his coat and came back with something hidden inside it. A small recording device. "I had a feeling this would happen," he said coldly. Sarah's eyes widened. "You recorded us?" David pressed play. A distorted voice filled the room. Arguments, meetings, mentions of money, and one phrase that made everything worse. "If this gets exposed, the whole family is finished." Jason looked horrified. "What is this?" David stared at Sarah. "You think I was the only one hiding things?" The truth was now splitting the family apart, piece by piece. And then, a loud knock came from the front door. Everyone froze. No one was expecting anyone. David whispered, "It's already too late." Because the person standing outside that door was the final piece of the secret no one could escape. The door that should not have opened. The knocking came again, harder this time. Sarah slowly walked toward the door. Every step felt heavier than the last. Jason followed behind her. Emily stayed frozen near the table. David didn't move at all. Sarah opened the door. A man stood there. Not a stranger. A familiar face. Someone from David's past business life. Jason whispered, "Who is that?" The man looked straight at David and said, "We need to talk, now." The atmosphere shifted instantly. David's voice dropped. "You shouldn't be here." Sarah turned slowly. "You know him." The man stepped inside without invitation. "I tried to handle this privately," he said, "but your husband stopped responding months ago." Emily's voice cracked. "What is happening?" The man pulled out documents. "Your family is connected to financial fraud investigations, hidden transfers, fake accounts, and one major transaction that links directly to a case that is now under review." Jason stepped forward aggressively. "Are you accusing my father of something illegal?" The man didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, "I'm saying someone in this house is responsible for covering it up." That was the breaking point. David suddenly shouted, "Get out of my house!" But it was too late. The truth was fully exposed now. No hiding, no escape. Sarah looked at David, tears in her eyes. "So this is what you brought into our lives." David whispered something no one fully understood, but the tone was not denial anymore. It was acceptance. And something darker. Because what happened next wasn't planned. It was the moment everything collapsed beyond repair. The night everything broke. What happened in the next moments would later be described by investigators as a chain reaction of panic and confrontation. Voices rose again. Accusations flew. The stranger tried to back away, sensing danger. Jason grabbed his phone, threatening to call police. Emily screamed for everyone to stop. But no one listened anymore. Sarah stood between them all, shaking. "This ends tonight," she shouted. David stepped forward slowly. "You don't understand what I was protecting you from." But Sarah replied, "You destroyed this family trying to protect it." The argument escalated into chaos. Objects fell, glass broke. The calm suburban house turned into a scene of panic and fear. And then, everything went silent for a moment. A decision was made in seconds that would change all their lives forever. By the time it was over, 3 lives were lost in that house. The family that once sat together for dinner was gone in a single night of truth, betrayal, and irreversible choices. The stranger fled before authorities arrived. Emergency calls came too late. When police entered the home, they found a scene they would never forget. A family destroyed not by outsiders, but by secrets kept too long. But the most disturbing part of this case wasn't what happened that night. It was what investigators discovered aftermath and the hidden truth. In the days that followed, the investigation uncovered layers of hidden financial records, secret communications, and years of deception that no one in the neighborhood could have imagined. Neighbors described the Millers as normal, quiet, respectful, but behind closed doors, everything was breaking long before that final dinner. Authorities concluded that this was not a sudden incident, but the result of long-term secrecy, pressure, and unresolved conflict that eventually exploded in the worst possible way. The case became a warning example in local reports about how hidden financial stress and communication breakdowns can destroy families from the inside. There were no clear winners, only loss, and the house where it happened was eventually abandoned. Life lesson for this story: sometimes the biggest danger in a family is not outside, it is silence inside. Secrets don't disappear when you hide them. They grow, they wait, and one day they come out in ways no one can control. Communication, honesty, and trust are not optional in a family. They are survival. Because when truth is delayed too long, it doesn't heal a family, it destroys it.